Testing one, two. Hello, everybody. YouTube and Facebook. Let me check Facebook. Make sure our sound is working good. Welcome back to another episode of Golf Cart Garage. We're going to talk about some golf carts every Tuesday at 12 noon Central Time. Taco Tuesday with Tim and the group and the golf cart fanatics. Let me look at that. That's good. Okay. This is Tuesday the 29th. If you're watching us on Tuesday the 29th at 12 noon Central Time on either YouTube or Facebook, then you are watching us live. We are live right now. I think we might have actually figured out that glitch that was causing Facebook not to work. Eamon figured that out, I believe. Looks like it's been working pretty good ever since then. Let's see what's going on over here in the room. David Irwin, what's going on, David? Hope you're having a great day. Don't forget to like this. Thank you, David. Wendy, 78 in Michigan. Gene Hansen, what's going on? Carl Johns, hello from Michigan. What's going on, Carl Johns? Helpless, pleasant 75 degrees. Yeah, it's some beautiful weather here in Arkansas right now. I look forward to this time of year. But I tell you what, I have been seeing some snakes. The snakes are moving. Arkansas has got some snakes, I'll tell you. I'm I'm not scared of snakes. I'm kind of fascinated by them, but uh, they'll scare you. They sneak up on you. Stephen Miller, good afternoon, Golf Cart Garage. Windy and sunny and a bit of rain. What's going on, Stephen Miller, one of our past winners. So is Gene Hansen. So is David Irwin. Galactic Technologies. Daniel, what's going on, man? Kirk, Tim, you guys are catching all kinds of terrible weather. Hope you. Yes, we are. Uh, Change of season, fronts, colliding, and Arkansas being where it is on the map, it seems like all the fronts collide right in Arkansas sometimes at certain times of the year. So you're right, Kurt. We do get some bad weather this time of year, and so far I've been pretty lucky. We've had some major rain, had some flooding, had some major wind, had some tornadoes, and hopefully all that'll be clearing up as soon as we start getting consistently warmer. And I think that's coming in the next couple of weeks. So, Big Mike, what's going on, Big Mike? Eagle River Mike. Hello, Tim, and everyone that is tuned in. 40 degrees and blustery in Wisconsin. Going on, Eagle River Mike. Gary England, another past winner. So is Eagle River Mike. Bob Lewis, good afternoon. 82 with the breeze in southeast Alabama. Rob Cedar, hey y'all. Hey Tim, what's going on, Rob? Tim and all the gearheads. Ricky Smith, Jerry Kelly, what's going on, Jerry? Thank you everybody for stopping in. Volume a little low. Well, I think I got it all the way up. Let me move a little closer here. Ricky Smith said volume's a little low. Bob Cedar found baby rat snakes the other day. Yep, they're moving here. I was out on the lake, saw a couple of snakes out on the lake. Found one in my backyard already this season. Uh, nothing, nothing major, but it was they're out there moving. Hey, Aaron, 72 and wet in Anderson, Indiana. It was 84 and sunny yesterday. Kevin Sawyer, good afternoon. 76 here in Indiana. Feels like summer. 77 in Connecticut and absolutely beautiful. God, that's way up there, Connecticut. And it's already 77. Yeah, that's pretty neat. Check Facebook and see if we got over there. Facebook, yeah, Facebook's rolling. Jimmy Stokely, sunny and 80 in East Tennessee on Facebook. Bart Gilman on Facebook. Good morning, Tim. Good weather in California. What's going on, everybody? Thank you all for joining. I really appreciate it. Mike let's see, Ingholm? Mike Ingholm from Illinois. What's going on, Mike? Thank you for joining us, sir. I had to take a second before I tried to. So forgive me if I butchered your name a little bit. Sir Walter said he flipped over the canoe and found a cottonmouth. Scared the crap out of me until he went into the lake. Yep, they're moving. I've seen one cottonmouth out on the lake yet, just recently. Harry Fike, hello from Florida. Got it. Mike says I got it right. Well, thank you. I had to take a second there, but I'm glad I got it. I might not say it again though. I might just call you Mike. Mike MI6 Irvin, 77 and overcast in southwestern Indiana. What's going on, Mike Irvin? Okay, let's get started on the regular questions. I'm sure we'll have some other ones in the chat as we get going here. Well, let me go ahead and run the social media links. Follow us on YouTube and Facebook if you haven't already. Give us a like, give us a thumbs up, give us anything like that. It just helps. But you can also follow some other platforms that I'm running down there in the corner right now. Other social media platforms there if you would like. Uh, Social media. Okay, let's see here. Hey, Ron says, I want everybody to check suspension after a lift. Well, we've actually talked about that on here before. Uh, let's see, what was your issue? So I had the bottom leaf of the pack turn and dig into my brand new tire. Found out the U-bolt had looked there. Well, see, that's not the issue that I have found as far as ruining a tire because of the leaf turning. But my issue has been axle wrap after installing a lift because the U-bolts will loosen. That's why I always encourage people after a lift, drive the cart and then bring it back to your shop and retorque those U-bolts that you've got around your new block. You know, you got these longer U-bolts, and after that, after you drive your cart, it puts a lot of strain on that, and those U-bolts can get loose. They can stretch a little bit, they can get loose. And the issue I was having was that the axle would actually wrap a little bit every time that you hit the brakes, and it'll lock the brakes up because it pulls on the brake cable just a little bit. And that's when I figured out that's what was happening. Because a lot of times those lifts, when you put a lift on, it will stretch your brake cable to the max. And so any axle wrap whatsoever will pull on that brake cable and cause it to to lock up. So anyway, if you install a lift kit, bring test drive your car and then come back and your U-bolts, for a number of different reasons. But yeah, that's good. I'm glad you pointed that out. Larry England, what's going on, Larry England? Uh, yeah, Aaron says, I'm sure popping wheelies didn't help. Yeah, that probably didn't help. But now you got them all good and stretched, so you retorque them. It probably won't happen to you again. Kirk says, how did you test with Starlink? Yeah, I did a test with Starlink Internet, and believe it or not, that Starlink Internet used to impress me because everything seemed to work fine. I wasn't sure it was going to be strong enough. That's why some of you may have saw that I did a test last week because it sent out a notification. Iman and I did some testing with Starlink at another location just to see if it would actually be strong enough, and the test was fine. So and Starlink is portable, so might be able to do the show sometime. If I just wanted to test to see if I wanted to, would I be able to do the show from another location? And I can. Uh, Always retorque wheels after losing one. Install lithium batteries in my 2010 Club Car President, and I'm experiencing loss of power after a short distance. One battery will read a negative voltage on it. Is a balancer necessary? You installed lithium batteries. Mike Ingholm installed lithium batteries in a 2010 Club Car Preston. My experience of loss of power after a short distance. One battery will read a negative voltage on it. Is a balancer necessary? You definitely need to take that one battery out if it's getting a negative voltage on it, because you've got that battery is not being charged correctly. Uh, Apparently you must have batteries in series. You must have the lithium battery. You don't have just one single lithium battery, from what you're saying. You have you're going to have four 12 volts. You're running four 12 volts in a club car precedent, so you've got four 12-volt lithiums. If you've got one that's going negative, then there's no doubt about it. That is your problem. That battery is probably not going to be able to be brought back because lithiums do not like that. They don't like that. So check your wiring. If all your wiring is, you're sure your wiring is correct, then you need to remove that battery out of the pack, contact the manufacturer of the battery, whoever it is, and see what they say. Because I guarantee you, they're going to advise you to either they're going to advise you that either that battery is toast, it's not going to come back, or they're going to want you to charge that up with a lithium 12-volt charger on its own first and then put it back in the pack. Yeah, Stephen, my wife actually just informed me of that my microphone is dropping out. So apparently we still have a technical issue. Yeah, it says my microphone's fading out. Uh, run multiple batteries in a battery pack. A battery pack will have a built-in BMS, so balancing is on board. Yeah, each one of those 12-volt batteries is supposed to balance itself. Uh, I am on correct. My wife's asking me a question. I am on correct camera because if I wasn't on correct camera, I would be looking that direction. So I am on correct camera. For some reason, the volume is not great, and all the way up on my deal there. Benny Russell. Good morning, guys. What's going on, Benny Russell? Thank you for joining us. Okay, let me go to the questions here. I need to get me one of those, either a wireless microphone or one of those fancy microphones that I see guys on YouTube using. I've got to get one of them. Mike says the weird part is when I first experienced this, I checked one battery and it was negative, and then I charged everything again and it moved to a different battery. See, I think we've talked about this before. Mike, some lithium companies don't recommend the four 12-volt lithiums in series anymore. That's why they have some lithium companies have changed to the single 36 volt or the single 48 volt battery because each one of those 12-volt batteries has a BMS involved. And the more cooks you got in your kitchen, the more likely that there could be a problem. So you got four managers on board, and they're all together. And it's supposed to work, and a lot of times it does. But I think Dakota lithium battery even stopped recommending that configuration for a golf cart, and they have a single battery configuration that they started recommending for golf cart use. Yeah, I need a lapel mic, I guess. Uh, Something that I can have more volume adjustment because I can't seem to get enough volume out of this one. This one is built into the Logitech camera. Is the microphone I'm using. Keith from Nashville. What's going on, Keith from Nashville? Thank you, sir, for joining us. I appreciate it. Let's go ahead and see if I can get through this with the lower volume. From Jimmy B. I had a bearing go bad and the oil. I need to know what type of grease slash oil transmission. It's a 96 TXT. Well, the owner's manual calls for 30 weight in the rear. I always say do what the owner's manual says. But anything with gear oil on it will work. You have to understand a golf cart's rear end is just like it's just like an automobile rear end. The differential is a differential. They're built exactly the same way. They got big, heavy metal gears in there that work perfect. I mean, it's a work of art. A differential is definitely a work of art. And as long as there's some type of gear oil in there, you're going to be fine. But the manual does call for 30 weight. Rob Cedar says all good is sound is good for on Facebook and YouTube. Okay, good. 12-volt LiPo batteries, I think, are more meant to be used in a camper house solar setup. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Actually switched. They still sell the 12-volt batteries, but I think they put them in a different category than they used to because they were having some balancing issues. They're now in the camper, home, and the solar section. You know, what they used to be in the golf cart section. Now it's been a while since I've been to their site. We don't sell Dakota at Golf Cart Garage, but the last time I was there, they had taken that out of the golf cart recommended battery section. Eric, turn your head away from the microphone at all. That seems to be when it drops. That's what my wife's telling me on the phone here. She's texting me telling me that if I turn my head, everything drops away. But according to the meter, I'm looking at the meter. It's not really. Well, I guess it did drop a little bit. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with that. It's always something. It never works 100% every time anymore. Things get more, the internet gets more complicated, everything gets more complicated. Lose sound when you move to the left, stay right. And okay. Well, I wonder if that's what the deal is. Let me check. Testing, 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 testing. Did that get louder when I did that? I bet that's what it is. I bet I got okay. You know what I bet I got? I bet I've got the wrong microphone. The camera, I've got the right camera, but the wrong microphone. So I'll tell you what I'll do. I'm going to move to the right a little bit. See if I can do it like this. Number 2, Sherman. How difficult and what is the procedure to replace crankshaft seals? Well, you have to remove your clutch on one side and you got to remove your flywheel on the other. And then you can get to the seals. They're right there. And I have seen people do a number of things, but the best way or the easiest way that I found to do it, and I've seen other people do the same thing, they'll drill a small hole on each side, like they'll drill a small hole in the seal itself, drill a small hole on the other side, and then put a screw in each hole and put a wire across the 2 screws, and then yank the seal out. I mean, it's no problem that you're damaging it because you're going to replace it anyway. That way a little bit. Stay to the right. Testing, testing, testing. All right. Ricky Smith, you did the Starlink test. Yeah, everything was good until I did the Starlink test. That's correct. Because what happened is that we had to reconfigure the microphone and stuff because I didn't bring my regular camera and microphone with me. So we were using a different microphone and camera on the Starlink test. And now we forgot to forgot to test to make sure that it was going to default back to the correct microphone. But so you're exactly right. Yeah, I think I figured it out. I think my microphone is over here and my camera is over here. All right, number 3. This is from Zeke. Just picked up a, maybe that closer. Just picked up a '09 RXV 13.5 Kawasaki. I was wondering if they are adjusted same as an EasyGo TXT. Since you're talking about 13.5 Kawasaki, that's probably going to be the same motor that's in the similar year TXT. So if you're talking about adjusting what you're talking about, uh, it's a completely different golf car, but it's very similar, or if not the same engine. I don't remember if it's the same or not. So I'm not sure that I understand the question fully there. I mean, TXT had at one point we had a Robin engine, had a Kawasaki engine. There may have even been a Subaru thrown in there for some year. So as long as it's the same engine, it would be adjusted the same. So you just need to see what was your TXT, what was in that. Number 4. This is from Ryan O. I just got my first cart yesterday. 98 TXT lifted on 22s. Guy I got it from recently lifted it. Thinks a brake pad may need to be replaced. Brake pad. Seems more than that. When you apply the brakes, it does a nosedive, grabs really hard. Could this be a cable and or axle? I think I read that is possible. How do I diagnose that? Sounds like you could be talking about what Aaron and myself were just discussing earlier. Uh, that the U-bolts have stretched and loosened up on you, and you could be suffering from axle wrap that's causing your brakes to lock up when you touch the brakes. I mean, that's happened to me more than once. So that's why we encourage everybody to go back and check their U-bolts after a lift install. And didn't you say it was a recently installed lift? Recently lifted. Thinks it's a brake pad. Well, once you figure out if you got slack or not, retighten your U-bolt, see if it does the same thing. Examine your brake cables and see if you got one that's pulled to the max. If you may have to get some longer cables. Some lift kits come with a cable extension to give you a couple of more inches in the cable. Number 5. Before I get to number 5, I'll take Sir Walter. Tim, do you have any comments on the Chins 51 Lithium for 2005 Club Car DS with H-frame chassis? 2005 Club Car DS. Well, if I'm not mistaken, that Chins is almost exactly like the Lifetime, which is almost exactly like some of the other ones out there. And you just, as far as fitting in a DS, Aaron just put one in his cart, not a Chins, I don't think, but it's one of the same. All of those, some of those inexpensive lithiums that are out there, they're all very, very similar. I mean, including the Charger. I mean, the Chargers even all look the same. They're just different colors, it seems like to me. So can it be put in a DS? Sure. I don't know if you saw the pictures that I showed of Aaron's car. He actually put his in long ways rather than in the battery tray. He put it in front to back. But it looks like a Chins, but it's a Cloud Energy. Yeah, yeah. They all look very similar to me. Almost like it's very possible that it's the same product with different packaging. You know what I mean? Like a lot of products. Uh, well, they'll have Sir Walter. There'll be measurements. So this is what I would do. I would make me some kind of mock-up battery and figure out how you're going to place it before you order anything. in a DS. See if you're going to need to modify, but make you a mock-up battery, like out of a box or some scraps of wood or something that are the measurements that it says the battery is. That's what I would do. I'd do that beforehand and figure out the battery placement. Tim, did Easy go make a 48 volt PDS or the PDS? PDS are 36. Now, when EasyGo made 48 volt cars, they called them TXT 48. I don't think that they were called PDS. I could be wrong about that. It didn't, I don't know, because when you order parts, it's either PDS, which is going to be 36, or it's TXT 48, which is not PDS. It's almost exactly like it, but I don't think they call it PDS. I had to pull the plate that houses the OBC and motor controller. Oh, okay. The firewall or whatever you call that wall at the back of the batteries, you had to actually remove that in order to put it that direction. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I would make a mock-up. I mean, you did it right though, because you had your cart down to the frame, before you installing that stuff. You didn't have the body on, so that's definitely the way to do it if you want to get everything right the first time. You see what Aaron says there, Sir Walter? Send him, post your email, and he'll send you some pictures of what he did with his battery, which is going to be the most likely his battery is going to be the exact same dimensions as the one you're looking at. And he did it in a DS also. Let me see this Facebook. Yes, stay the right. I got you. Yeah, I think I figured that one out. I got the right camera, wrong microphone going on. Number number 5. All right, this is from Jerry. Hi, Tim. I'm thinking about putting a pair of Jake's hydraulics on the front of my drive. Front of my drive. Have you done it in the past? How would you balance the front with the factory transaxle disc? Okay, that's a good question. If for somebody who doesn't know, that would be a good question, or someone who hasn't used the Jake's hydraulics before. But I can tell you this, the Jake's hydraulic is completely separate than whatever braking system you got in the rear. Now, in your case, you're talking about you got that wet brake system where it's all done inside the transaxle. But even if you had the just brake shoes on the back hubs, it would be the same thing. It's still completely separate than that brake system. So there's no way to actually balance them, is what I'm saying, to each other. They're a separate braking system. The Jake's front hydraulics is just something to give you a little extra braking, and because you have no braking on your front tires at all. And when you add that, you have more braking in your car. There's no doubt about it. You have more braking. But they in an automobile, your front brakes are set way stronger than your rear brakes. They're set to lock up before your rear brakes because you won't, because when you hit the brakes, your car weight transfers and nosedives, you get a lot more braking that way off the front tires than you do on the rear. Plus, you don't want to hit your brake pedal and your rears lock up before your fronts do, because if they do, your car could be like pulling an emergency brake and you could do, spin outs and stuff. So there's going to be a little adjustment in the front, a little bit of adjustment, but not a whole lot. You'll be able to adjust the front a little bit. But as far as them working together, it's a completely separate system, and you'll only make your adjustments on the front on the Jakes. So Walter says the two U.S. lead acids now measure 21.5, so one small lithium should fit in the middle tray in club car. Yeah, that's how I would do it, Sir Walter. Just decide which way you want or how much trouble you want to go through. I mean, Aaron did his the way that he did because of a reason. He wanted to have room for the onboard controller on one side and some other stuff on the his 12-volt converter wiring and everything on the other side. So if you're not worried about all that, then it might be easier just to put it where you're talking. Number 6 is from Brian S. Recently had my 2005 DS lifted with Jake's 3-inch spindle kit and got new tires and rims. When I pick up speed on a straightaway, the rear end starts bouncing pretty hard. Thought the rims might need balancing like a car, but I called the shop that did it, and the guy said sometimes the lug nuts don't get centered when they're put on, and this can cause the bounce. Uh, you know how the only way that I could say that that would happen or that could happen. I don't know if you've ever noticed the lug nuts on a golf cart. You notice how one side of the lug nut on a golf cart is flat, and then the other side of the lug nut on a golf cart has a slight taper to it. And what that will do, that taper, when you put it on the rim or put it on the bolt, the lug bolt, it's going to center in that. Now, unless someone had put the lug nuts on backwards, and I mean, I think that would be very unlikely, but you check what I'm saying. Make sure the lug nuts are on the right way. Make sure they're not on the flat side down. Make sure the taper side is going into the rim. Eliminate that as being a problem. And then I have said it before on here, and some other people have said it too. I have seen tires that were out of round. Tires that were so cheaply made, so cheaply manufactured that they weren't actually perfectly round. And not much you can do about that except for overinflate them in the sunshine, leave them out in the sunshine, overinflate it for a while, then try to drop them off, see if you can get them to go back into a round shape. It's pretty important in a tire for it to be round. So you got to eliminate the obvious things. You obviously do have a bounce that it's only showing up at speed, but I'd check those things first. Number 7. I think this is where we get into the title of this episode for this question here. Number 7 from Connor. I'm looking and researching lithium batteries as mine are dying. I'm looking at the different options. I'm trying to understand amp hours. Example, if I went with 4 12-volt batteries that were, say, 20 amp hour, would the total be 80 or 20? Okay, well, we'll answer these one at a time. The total would be 20 because when you use 4 12-volt batteries, whatever the amp hour says on each battery stays the same when you hook them in series. So the total amp hour would only be 20. All right. That was answer to that question. Conversely, if I put two 48-volt batteries that were 50 amp hours together, is the total amp hour 50 or 100? If you put two 48-volt batteries and hook them in parallel, then the amp hour would be 100. When you hook batteries in parallel, the amp hour doubles or the amp hour goes up, but the voltage stays the same. So that was two questions. The first one is that it would stay 20 because you got four 12 volts in series and they each say 20 amp hours. So your total amp hour of your whole pack would be 20. But when you're talking about buying golf cart batteries, you buy the 12-volt batteries that they have like 100 amp hour or something piece, and then you put 4 of those in series, and it's still a 100 amp hour pack because you want a 100 amp hour pack in your golf cart. You can get away with 60 amp hour packs, in a completely stock golf cart that all you do is go to the golf course with. You can get away with 60 amp hour packs, but I wouldn't get anything less than that. Uh, and only use 60 amp hour packs on this completely stock golf cart. So Aaron says it sounds like they tightened the lug nuts one at a time and didn't get them all in the center of the wheel before. You could be right. Yeah, it could be something like that. Uh, it's very likely that they did that. They tightened up one lug nut at a time, which is not recommended at all. It's recommended to hand tighten everything on there, shake things around, and then go back in and do like a double torque. Just do them a little bit and do the opposite pattern. One on this side and one on the other side, one on this side, one on the other side. Go to the opposite one that every time you tighten a lug nut, go to the exact opposite one across or as close to the exact opposite as you can, and do that several times rather than tightening them up all the way. It very well could be the case. Big Mike, what should the charged voltage be across a full 48 volt pack? About 51, 52 at rest after being off the charger for 12 hours. I know that's a long, complicated answer because a lot of people get confused. Because if you just unplug the charger, it's going to read high for several hours before it rests and comes down to what a fully charged 48 volt pack would actually be. And each individual 8 volt battery for a Club Car PD. You mean Easy Go PDS? Big Mike. But anyway, 8 volt battery is going to be about 8.37, something like that, fully charged after 12 hours of rest of being off the charger. About 8.4, something like that. You can go to I tell you where it says all that stuff, the Trojan website, Trojan battery website. They have a chart in there that shows what fully charged batteries at rest would be. Joe Foster, running late. Good day, everyone. A DS, not a PDS. Okay, cool. I got you. Yeah, about 8.37, 8.4, something like that would be a fully charged 8 volt battery individually. But over 51 volts on the pack sometimes, depending on uh, how good the batteries are. Check Facebook over here. Yeah, we're still good. If the pack is right at 48, Mike, believe it or not, in the golf cart world, that would be dead. That's a dead battery pack. If the batteries are individually 7.8 volts, those are dead batteries. Then you may be able to charge them up and bring them back. You may not, because a good 8 volt battery will almost never drop that low. I mean, you'd have to really work the snot out of it to get it to get down that low. And if you did, and it's sitting there at rest at 7.8, they may or may not be able to be brought back. Yes, they do. They need some help. Yeah, 48 volts on a 48 volt pack is actually considered a dead battery pack. I know that sounds weird to people who don't actually realize that. There's a big, huge difference between 48 volts and 50. That's a huge difference. That's like the difference between being a dead battery pack and fully charged, or close to being fully charged. When you're talking about a battery pack at rest, just sitting there at rest and has not been on a charger for 12 hours or so. Number 8. This is from Thomas M. 2004 precedent. I want to understand how the IQ system works. Is the IQ just another name for the controller? Is the speed code programmed in the actual? Is this is well? Let's take these one at a time. It looks like you might have several questions. Is the IQ just another name for the controller? No. The IQ is the relationship between the controller and the motor. That's the IQ system. It's just like the PDS system in a TXT. The PDS system is the relationship between the controller. It's the name of the electrical relationship between the controller and the motor. That's PDS. You change those, you're not PDS anymore. You change either one of them, you're not actually PDS anymore. And the same thing with IQ. The IQ system is the relationship, the whole system, which would be motor, controller, and you probably throw solenoid in there too, even though other solenoids would work. But it's the motor and controller and how they work together. They were designed to work together. Okay, is the speed code programmed in the actual speed controller? Yes, the answer to that is yes. When Club Car plugs in their computer to up your speed code, if you want to get your speed code up, they are actually plugging into a data port that goes directly to the controller. The speed code plugs into the controller itself. If so, what is seeking to regulate the speed? The motor RPM. It's the answer to that would be the programming inside the controller. They're actually changing the programming. The programming, it can be limited or the programming can be unlocked to where it will allow your car to run around 19.6, something like that. Assume ours still has the stock speed code, perhaps at 3, as the speed is 16.2. That sounds about right for a 3, maybe even yeah, that's probably about right for a 3. And you got to understand, 3 is probably the most common speed code in Club Car IQs. That's probably the most common one that's out there because the 3 can limit the speed, obviously, to about 16.2, and golf courses, believe it or not, have speed limits. They don't want you being to go, 20 miles an hour out there, on the golf course because men have a tendency to play bumper cars and drink too much when they're out there. If I have this updated to the 419 speed code, what else can I do to bump the speed to at least 20 to 25? If the controller changed to the all tracks, well, let's take that question. You can change the controller, and then that way you have access to unlock it and go to the maximum and not worry about this stuff anymore. If you change the controller, if the controller's changed it to the all tracks, would this do away with the speed codes? Yes, it would. Any help and explanation is appreciated. Well, it's a good it's a good question. It's a very common question, but it's a good question too. Uh, if you change the controller to a all tracks or Navitas, then you have full access to all of the programming that we're talking about, and you can unlock your car, and it will go the fastest that it can. For which I have heard people, 22 and 25 is not uncommon at all. That's not uncommon at all, just with a controller change because you're unlocked now. And if you wanted even more, then you can change the motor to a higher RPM speed motor for your car and maybe even get more. But the first thing is change the controller. That's always the first thing. I hope I said that right. Hope that made sense. Number 9. From Nicholas. I can't decide which way to go on installing a radio. I'm thinking maybe it would be better to mount everything up top. Looks like it would solve speaker problems. Give me your pros and cons of doing this. Well, I can tell you what, Nicholas, I have definite opinions on that, but it's all just my opinions and based on changes that we've had in technology over the last uh, 15 years or more, 20 years. Because I've decided I'm not installing stereos in golf carts anymore. And it's for one reason and one reason only. It's because Bluetooth speakers have come such a long way. It's almost, to me, it's almost unnecessary for the amount of work that is you have to put into it. And then you've got that what's that the stereo stuff that's out there for golf carts, the exo gear stuff that is, oh man, it's cool. I mean, that's some cool stuff. And it's designed for golf carts. I mean, their components are designed for golf carts. That's pretty cool stuff. Uh, but Bluetooth speakers are a dime a dozen and they're portable. You can just bring that in your golf cart and play your phone, to it. You can pick up radio stations on your phone and go to the Bluetooth speaker. That's very easy. Now I went through all the trouble to install stereo, but I did it with the body off. I took the body off in order to make sure everything was right. So it's a lot of trouble to put a stereo in a vehicle in a golf cart that wasn't designed for a stereo. That's why that exo gear stuff is kind of cool because it is actually designed for a golf cart. Big Mike says he uses a Boss Audio Bluetooth system from a motorcycle. Yeah, see, that's what I'm talking about. It's that's so much easier, so much easier. I mean, if somebody wants to install a stereo in their golf cart, then by all means go for it. And it is cool. But to me, it's just a lot less trouble to not and just get a Bluetooth speaker. And my little G1, I have a little Ryobi Bluetooth that has a radio on it, so I grab it and put it in the back anytime I'm going out and working in the yard or something with it. I have to have my Metallica with me at all times. Number 10. This is from Bill. We just purchased a 2010 electric Precedent that had been parked with dead batteries for several years. The cart looks neglected. The cart looks neglected but not abused. I put in new Trojan batteries. First time I tried to run it, it just shuddered a little. Eventually, after many tries, it started moving, but with a shudder like a car with a very clattery clutch. Eventually, it started running much better, but with a hesitation feeling, like the speed was going up and down. Last night, I took it for a short ride. It ran well until it stopped and didn't want to go further than a few feet at a time. I let it cool off for 10 minutes and was able to run it back to the house. Is it likely that the cart just has problems from sitting and needs to be run? Or are there other places I should be looking? I've worked on E-Z-GO carts, but this is my first club car. From Bill. Well, I'll tell you what, Bill, the uh, the first thing I'm going to want to know, did you fully charge your batteries? I mean, and what voltage are they at? Did you fully charge the batteries? And tell me what, I need to know the voltage because you're describing a battery dropping out. And since it's new batteries, I want to clear that up, that confusion first. But let's just say that it's not your batteries. You did mention that your speed's going up and down. Well, if your speed's going up and down, that could be an M core issue. The M core could have been, the only thing, an M core is not really a crazy high tech device. If inside an M core, there's going to be some type of variable resistor. And as you press the pedal, it twists the rod in the M core and changes the signal that's being sent to the controller. So if it's been sitting for a long time, that variable resistor or the contact points inside there. I know an M core is supposed to be sealed, but it is not waterproof. I mean, it's not condensation proof. I mean, so anything could have happened in there, and that could explain the car starting to run differently over time. That'd be the only thing I could think of. If it's not your batteries. So I would stick with making sure your batteries are fully charged, making sure your charging system has worked, making sure I'd stick with that first, and then we're going to talk about MCore. And, you could go there next. Uh, Kurt says, Tim, did you solve your camo cart problem? Funny you should ask that, Kurt. I am on the right track. Uh, let's see, where are we at on that? What did I talk about? Okay, open field error code. All trace controller but old all tracks controller that you can't even get anymore. Okay, DCX. And if you DCX are all tracks controllers that were for shunt wound or regenerative braking cars, and like PDS and just with E-Z-GO, since we're talking about an E-Z-GO, PDS and DCS. So that controller, you can't get that exact controller anymore. You have to get the newer version of controller. It's called XCT. All right, so I've got a controller in there that's throwing open field error code. All right, all this time, I've been trying to figure out what to do without just throwing money at it. Well, it'll pass all the tests, any type of technical test the cart would pass. But for open field error code, it can only be one of three things. It's either the motor, the controller, or the field coiled wires that are going to the motor. So I replaced the field coiled wires first because that was easy. Still getting open field error code. Cart would run for a while and then eventually throw open field error code. So I replaced the wires first. All right. Then I pulled the motor. All right. I pulled that big, heavy torque motor. It's huge and heavy. Took it apart. It was all caked up inside with brush dust, but I don't think that was the problem. I didn't find anything wrong. And then during that process, I ended up breaking the brush holder, so I couldn't even reinstall it. So luckily, I had a stock PDS motor on the shelf. I put a stock PDS motor in there to eliminate this as being the problem. I've already changed the wires. Now I'm putting a new motor that was sitting on my shelf, that had been sitting on my shelf for a long time, stock PDS, and hook it back up there. Still getting open field error code. Open field error code. It'll run for a while, open field error code. So now I've eliminated everything except controller. So I'm on the lookout for a new controller for a PDS car, and I've been price shopping. So I'm better off now on that project than I was a few weeks ago because I was still dealing with three possibilities, but I slowly but surely eliminated two of the possibilities. And of course, the expensive one, controller, is going to be the one that I come up with. I'll tell you what, it does run good with that lithium battery in there because every now and then it would run right before it would throw open field. Oh, and I could tell the weight difference, is down, and the power was there. Let's see, Galactic's on. Audio lagging here too. Maybe some kind of condensation issues that happen, like the motor commutator. Yep. Or even a loose terminal somewhere has corroded and is loose intermittent connection is happening. Yep. Exactly. I don't have any. Where am I at here? I don't have any. There it is. I don't have anything for Let's See segment. I don't have any pictures for Let's See segment. I'm still going to run my graphic. So, yes, Mike, I have a lithium. I have a 36-volt lithium, and that's what I've been using for trying to figure out what the problem is with the car because it's so easy. I mean, I've got the 36-volt lithium, and I've got both. I've got the little race car set up that it can take it, and I've got the camo cart set up so it can take it, and I can swap the 36-volt lithium out onto either car in 5 minutes. I mean, it's so convenient. I mean, it's the quickest battery job ever. Once you get your cart set up to accept it. Neither one of mine are four passenger. They're it's or none of my three. I've got three, but none of them are four passenger. I haven't had the cart running good enough to answer how long of life I'm getting out of it. I'm still trying to get this controller thing taken care of, and then I'll do some range testing and all kinds of stuff because I can tell it's going to run really well. It's going to run nice. I've already tested that lithium in the race car, and it runs fine. It runs really nice. But that lithium I have in that camo cart I hadn't been able to really give it some range test or anything like that because my cart would throw open field error code before I was able to do anything. It's one of those D-Max batteries, and the reason that I haven't talked about the brand so much is because we don't sell it at Golf Cart Garage. We don't sell the one that's in there, so I didn't want to promote something that we didn't sell. Plus, I wanted to do product testing on it, and if it turns out to be good, then we may sell it. We may start selling it. But I need to get my cart running enough so I can use it as a test vehicle to check the brand because it's a little less expensive brand. It's the one D-Max turned me on to a long time ago. It's that lifetime stuff. But I'm not promoting it. That's just what I have. I'm not promoting it yet. I'm going to give it some more testing. D-Max has been using it for a while, and he says it's fine. He says they're good. I haven't had enough. I haven't had a good test vehicle. I can't really give it a good opinion on the race car. Yeah, because that thing is crazy. So, and it runs that fine. So I don't consider that a good test vehicle for a battery. The camo cart would be a whole lot better test vehicle, but I've got to get it fixed first. Now, I don't mind saying what brand it is, but I just didn't want to talk about it too much until I figure out if it's good or not because we don't sell it. As far as the picks go, Daniel said he's got some picks for me. So here's my email that I'd like for you to send picks to, and then I'll feature them on the show under the Let's See segment. It's 00timfreeman@gmail.com. I'll leave that up there in case anybody wants to send me some pictures, golf cart related pictures, some cool mechanical related pictures. If you'd like to buy a hat from Golf Cart Garage, you can. We have several hats now. There's the staples there. That's the four staple Golf Cart Garage hats. You got four colors you can pick from. There's links in the description, I believe, that take you right to them if you wanted to buy them. Occasionally, we give some of them away. We give hats away on this channel. Got several winners in the room today that have won in the past. I just make up the hat giveaway day on the spot. Never know when it's going to be. You never know. Got some eco battery stuff that we give away occasionally. There's an eco battery hat. There's a eco battery t-shirts that we have. There's another eco lithium battery hat that we have. There's the front of the t-shirt. We give that stuff away here on this channel occasionally. You just got to be sure and join us. You got to be sure and join us. You never know when it's going to be. It might be today, it might be next time, might be the time after that. You never know. Okay, let me see where I'm at here. If you'd like to contact us at Golf Cart Garage for any reason, that's my email, personal email up top. You can send something to me. But if you'd like to contact the company for some reason, you can contact support@golfcartgarage.com. That's up there now. There's the phone number. If you have any questions or something about products or parts or something, you can get in touch with someone there. That will be fine. If you need it to get to me and you're sending it to support@golfcartgarage.com, just put attention Tim and somebody will make sure that it gets to me. I ran the social media links already, the other social media links. Where's my coupon at? There it is. If you would like to get 5% off any parts you order at golfcartgarage.com, you can if you use coupon code TIM30, TIM30. This particular code expires on May the 15th, so it's got a couple of weeks left, so that's cool. 5% off any parts you order. Use coupon code TIM30, TIM30. All right. that is going to be it, guys. I am. Think I'm going to have to get ready to mow grass. I got grass to mow. We've been getting some rain and sunshine here in Arkansas, and that is nothing but a recipe for grass to grow. I have got to probably go mow. I've got to check on some things. So thank everybody for showing up today, and as always, showing up every time. I really appreciate it. I will see everybody next Tuesday. Which what will that be? That's going to be Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Looks like that's going to be the the 6th. Yep, the grass waits for no one. That is true. It does not wait. Yeah, it's going to be the 6th, Tuesday, the 6th of May. I can't believe it's already going to be May here, like tomorrow or the next day. Yeah. All right, guys, since the garage is now closed, I will see you guys later. Thank you for showing up.